What's up, you guys? It's Jenna with Jesus and Beyond, and welcome to the episode on emotions. So today we're talking about emotions and the kingdom of God and kind of how this all works, right? How does this all move? How does this all breathe? How does this all kind of function here together? And so emotions are really looked down on in Christianity, right? They're really not, I don't know if condone's the right word, but they're not like really celebrated to have super emotional people, and to be in general in our society, typically we haven't been, we haven't been celebrated to have a lot of emotions. But I think in the most previous years it's gotten more progressive in the sense of, emotions are more welcomed in a space, and having your voice seen, heard, and having your voice heard, right? Seen, heard, and known is definitely welcomed. And but typically in the Christianity space, for anyone who left the faith, for anyone who's just, not been on the Jesus stream, you might have felt like your emotions really weren't a thing, right? That your emotions weren't really welcomed there, or any emotion, maybe except crying, right, was super welcomed. And I just want to sit here and tell you that they are. Your emotions are always welcomed. Your emotions are always valid, and your emotions are always needed, right? Your emotions are clues to who you are. Your emotions are intel into how your body thinks, functions, and moves. Your emotions are intel into what's ready to release, into what's ready to move, into what's ready to grow, into what's ready to open, and then maybe what's ready to not be open, and perhaps ready to close off. And so, a really great example is if you've been hurt, right? If you've been hurt in the past, right, you're normally going to have a wound, right? I'm sure everyone, this is kind of how it goes. You get hurt, you get a wound. Typically it's in the heart. And from there, you kind of struggle a little bit. You have a little trouble connecting with other people out in the outside world that you might not normally connect with, or people that typically you actually might want to connect with them. This is a good one. People that you actually might want to connect with, but you struggle, right? And you can feel that there's a desire to connect, but there's something in the way, right? There's a block or a hurt. There's something that's blocking. That's either, it might feel mute between the person. It might feel like there's an avoidance inside of your heart. It might feel like a little anxious inside of your heart. Depending on where you're on the spectrum, depending on how much plant medicine you've drank, it will actually depend on how large that emotion will feel, right? If you've been in the plant medicine community, you're going to feel very opened. You're going to feel very exposed. You're going to feel very vulnerable in the sense where you'll feel a lot of things pretty much all the time, right? And you're pretty emotionally driven, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, because that has become your compass, right? Your emotions have actually become your compass for life, which is not bad. And Christianity has really looked down upon anything that's emotionally driven.